Peep game, you know what it is. It's your man Skyzoo, Skyzoo, live out the borough. And this is the Corner Convo podcast, the #1 podcast in Chicago. Numbers don't lie. You know how we doing it, man. It's for hip hop, it's for the culture, it's for who we are and what we are, and what we always will be. Peace and love, baby.
This is Vila. I'm here with Skyzoo. Welcome to the Corner Convo. Brooklyn-born native here performing tonight at Bourbon on Division. So tell us a little bit about yourself for people here in Chicago that might not have heard of you yet.
Oh man, for the few that might not, MC lyricist, ghostwriter, songwriter, dibble and dabble in movie stuff, own a restaurant, a lot of different things.
A Renaissance man.
Yeah, Renaissance black man, absolutely.
So I saw you doing your sound check. You sound so smooth. Where does that come from? Like, have you always been that comfortable on stage?
Yeah, but really because I've been doing it for so long. You know, I don't think anyone steps in it and they're like that off the rip. You know, everybody's gonna have butterflies, everybody's gonna shake, everybody's gonna have to get to that place of where the thing that you do becomes just normal to breathe. Okay. You know, so it takes time to get there.
So how long have you been rapping and writing?
So
you're young, you're only 40.
Yeah, and I love that that's young, absolutely. And I've been told that I don't look, people don't believe me when I say that. People think I'm 28. For whatever reason, the number is always 28, so I'll take it. But I've been in the industry since 06, but I've been shooting jumpers in the park, for lack of a better term. Like I've been writing, and the first time I picked up a pen for this, I was 9 years old.
You remember your first
Not
rap?
at all.
What's the first rap you performed live? Do you remember that?
I don't remember the rhyme, but I think it was some talent show thing when I was like 10. I remember that. And then I remember.
So you was a shorty, you wrote at 9.
I was rhyming at 9 years old was when I started, man. It's when I first picked up a pen and a pad and went for it, you know, man.
Okay.
And never looked back. Like a lot of times people start young and they play with it, and that's cool. You know, I mess with it a little bit, or they start when they're 15 or something. For me, I started when I was 9 and I never looked back. From day one, I was like, that's what I'm doing.
So describe your music and your style.
For me, my music is super New York, because I'm Brooklyn, New York all day, but also it's a universal appeal to it. You know, my music is extremely storytelling driven, so like every album is a constant theme. It's like the last album I put out before this most recent one, All the Brilliant Things, is all about gentrification. It's all about the gentrification in my neighborhood in Brooklyn, but if you come to Chicago, you see it. If you come to Detroit, you see it.
Right.
You come to Atlanta, you come to Philly, you come to Baltimore, DC, you see it. So even though my music is so New York driven, that's one example of no matter where you're from, you can relate to it. I had people all over the world, Johannesburg, Berlin, London, hitting me saying, man, it's happening here too. It's happening here too. But the stories I'm writing are about Brooklyn, New York. So that's what I mean about the universal appeal. You know, before that, In Celebration of Us was all about the plight of black folk. It was about making the blackest album that I could personally make, as far as the highs, the lows, things that we go through, the things we've been through, the things that sometimes we put ourselves through. You know, every album is story and concept driven. I grew up on hip hop that was cohesive. I grew up on hip hop where you had your records that made people move a certain way. You had your records that showed how nice you were and how dope you were, but the constant theme of it and the cohesion of it was one thing. You know, whether it was Illmatic, whether it was Ready to Die, Reasonable Doubt, Liquid Swords, Only Built for Cuban Links, like that's the stuff I grew up with. So for me, when I approach music, those morals and values are the same way. It's like if you're training to play ball, you may develop your own form and your own jumper, but the person who showed you how to shoot showed you, you know, spread your knees, you know, fingers.
Basic,
yeah, exactly. You know, flip your wrists and all that, guided rotation.
And you got some flavor on too.
Exactly. So my rotation, my guidance, my pop your wrist, all that came from Liquid Swords, Reasonable Doubt, Illmatic, you know, Ready to Die, Only Built for Cuban Links, Iron Man. Like it came from that. You know, Harlem World. It came from all that. You know.
I feel like I'm very similar. Like people are like, why are you so comfortable on stage? I was like, I grew up listening to hip hop.
Right.
Like, there's something about how you communicate, like what you learn about communication, and putting together a story, and holding people's attention, and moving them from like being in these, you know, weird ways in their head to like everybody on the same page. Yeah. Right. So everybody about to be on the same page tonight because you're getting on stage.
Let's do it. Yeah.
So how do you choose the songs that you perform for the crowds?
It's usually whatever the most recent album is,
okay.
Especially if the show is coming off the heels of the album. So right now, my most recent album is The Mind of a Saint, which is a conceptual project where, for all the fans of the television show Snowfall, the album is me rapping from the perspective of Franklin Saint for the entire album.
Okay.
So the album is as if Franklin went into the studio and made an album in 1986. So
That's
hence,
brilliant.
Thank you. Hence why I'm Franklin Dow. So like every show, I have on a different Franklin Saint hoodie and kind of just the whole brand and the whole marketing and image.
There's a story even in the performance and the attire.
Absolutely.
So there's you know type of thing.
Yeah, there's a record. There's a record called Bodies where I talk about everything Franklin did from his first kill to where he's at now. And the whole second verse, I'm talking to Kevin about what happened. And spoiler alert for those who haven't seen the show, but I'm talking to Kevin about everything that happened between the two of them. And the whole verse, I look up at the ceiling and rhyme. It's like as if I'm talking to Kevin.
Got it.
You know, so like you said, it's the concept within the show as well. You know, so Mind of a Saint, solely produced by a production duo out of DC called The Other Guys. They did the entire project, and it's been an incredible run, man. You know, it was the #1 album the week it came out. It was the #1. Thank you. It was the #1 hip hop album in the country. Oh, thank you. It was the #1.
Do you think people been waiting for a project like this? Like, have people been like hungry?
Yeah, because it doesn't exist. People don't take those shots and those chances and risks because you make an album like this, you're not gonna have your records to get lit. You're not gonna have your records to turn up to, right? Like, this is a story-driven, cohesive album, and the attention to detail has to be so massive. It has to be so spot on to do this right, you know, and a lot of people wouldn't take that challenge. Most people would make an album like this. It's kind of a get out of jail free card to do whatever you want in the sense of, yo, we can talk about clapping shit up. We can talk about selling man weight. We can talk about all that because that's the show, right? So we can do all that. Whereas I took the opposite approach. I have a record on here called Panthers and Powder where I'm talking about Franklin growing up as a Black Panther and the irony of him now selling white and getting it from whites and tearing down his own Black community. He grew up knowing the opposite was the right way to go. You know, most people who do this project wouldn't approach it like that. They wouldn't approach it from a reflective, you know, kind of getting down on yourself and kind of figure out why things went the way they went.
Where does that come from? Because you seem super mindful, right?
Yeah.
I believe in energy. And so, not to get like spiritual or anything like that, but you seem, I don't want to put you in the conscious rap realm, right? But there's a mindfulness and intention of everything that you do.
Absolutely.
Why is that important to you, and how have people responded to that?
For one, it's important because of what I grew up on, like everybody I named. For two, growing up around more than just what people from my hood grew up around. You know, I grew up in the neighborhood, you know, St. James Place, up the block from Biggie, you know, literally. So like, that's my neighborhood. So when you hear Ready to Die, that album is my neighborhood when I was 12 years old when it came out. You know what I mean? So I grew up around that, but at the same time, I had parents who put me in different schools. I never went to school in my neighborhood. I always went to school 30, 40 minutes away.
This is what diversity, this is what a diverse experience looks like in a Black man.
My outside may have been a war zone. My inside was like Black art and Anita Baker records and jazz records playing. And like, that was my inside. I was inside the house. And then when I went outside the house, it was Ready to Die, but coming to life.
That's a hell of a collage.
Absolutely. It's a super yin and yang.
But then you had to find the right people for the project. So I'm quite sure that was even, you know, like right producers, the right artists.
For this joint, yeah, absolutely. It started with, you know, The Other Guys, like I said, they're a duo out of DC, super dope production team. And we've been talking about doing a project for a while, not knowing what it would be.
Right.
And, you know, we decided to do an album, and then from there it was on me to really come up with how I wanted to approach it. Because it was me driving the car, right? So whatever I wanted to do, if it was just gonna be me rapping about me, cool. Whatever it was gonna be, they was leaving it up to me to go crazy. And I just wanted to do something different.
Power and privilege.
Yeah.
Of having that freedom,
exactly.
Having a free mind, and you know, people that support you. And I know you gotta get ready for your show.
Yeah,
so, you know, I wanna make sure people know what's next for you. What's going on this summer? If people want to, check you out, any live shows coming up in the Midwest, preferably.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, next up, we're re-releasing a deluxe version of the album where I'm going to add more records to the album because the album is the show is Snowfall of seasons 1 through 5.
Okay.
So now we're in season 6, which is the last season.
I gotta watch all of this.
You do.
I'm smiling and nodding, like I know what.
You might watch this show tonight and get a million spoilers because I'm talking about the show, but you could double back and then whatever. So, so season 6 is the final season, which is airing now. So I have to talk about that because if I'm rhyming as Franklin and this is Franklin's life, now I got to tie the story. So there's 4 more songs coming, about 4 songs or whatever coming for the deluxe version. Man, the response has been out of this world. Like I said, it's been, it's the #1 album in the country, #1 hip hop album in the country on the charts. The cast has been reaching out about it. Damson, the star of the show, who plays Franklin, he's been talking about it in Rolling Stone and different outlets like that. And
it's so needed for that level of creativity.
Yeah, it's wild. Like the show is like the executive producers and everything of the show are all about the album. Like they've been reaching out and getting with me, and I've been talking to different members of the
cast.
cast. And it's been dope, man. You know, they've been really supporting it, and it's been running around crazy. It's like I've become Snowfall down there. Right? So like everywhere I go, everybody's asking me about Snowfall shit, asking me what I think is gonna happen in the next episode, asking me where I'm gonna go in the album. Like I'm the Snowfall man.
Room, yeah.
Right, I'm Snowfall man.
So when this is
now,
all said and done and you move on to the next project, are you fearful that when people see this connection with this show that they're expecting that type of vibe moving forward?
Nah, because if you know my music, it's always story. It's always been conceptual projects. Exactly, that's all it is.
Dennis Rodman of hip hop, like you don't know what's walking out the door.
That's a wild comparison.
I mean, he did whatever it is that he wanted to do. Everybody.
I'll take some of that.
He was himself.
I get where you're going.
You know, like even when he married himself.
See, now you.
Now made it weird. Now made it weird.
You see, now.
Welcome to the crib.
One question before you go, right? We have an ongoing conversation on the Chrono Combo podcast about what is the culture.
Ooh, yeah. What's your definition of the culture?
Man, the culture is our culture as far as hip hop culture. First of all, it's black culture. We created it. It's something that we've been very loose with in the sense of we've let other people come in and take advantage of it. We've let other people come in and actually take it. We've let other people come in and dictate how we move within it, right? I don't know any other cultures or genres of music or fashion or anything where that happens. Like we can't go in rock and roll or, you know, different facets of pop or country music or anything like that and tell them what it's supposed to be. They can come over and tell us, nah, this isn't what it's supposed to be that. Wait a minute, what you mean? That's like us going and telling them what Italian food or Greek food or whatever it's supposed to be. Like, nah, you can't do that. That's y'all thing. Whether we understand it, appreciate it, have the palate for it or not, that's y'all. Y'all got Italian food, y'all got Greek food, y'all got Jewish food, that's y'all. You can't come in here and tell you how to do it, but they can come in here and tell us how to make our soul food, right? Which is hip hop, which is our culture. So, you know, I have a problem with that. And I spoke about that a lot on the Celebration of Us, you know, like I have a problem with that. But our culture is the strongest magnet in the world. You know, there's no way you can go without hip hop being the influence on everything. Not just anything, but everything, right? Like, it's everywhere. You can't get away from it. You can't turn. I mean, you even have country music artists that incorporate hip hop in how they approach their records. You know, it's a different thing, but the culture, it represents us, it represents who we are, it embodies us, it encapsulates us, and it's something to stand the test of time, and it's proven that. Now we just have to continue to make our way back to the driver's seat instead of the back of the bus, you know?
I mean, no, also, let's get the lyric.
So we do, like, do you have, like, a lyric that you live by? Mine is, life's the script, I'm not an actor, I'm the author, and that's from Just a Cold World.
Yes.
That's what I live. But do you have some, whether it's yours?
That was Deck who said that, but it was on Cold.
Yes.
It was on Cold World. Yeah.
Thank you for, and nobody's correcting me yet, so
I
know you haven't.
No, I have.
Anyway.
Probably a lot, but the first one I'll come off the head with since you said when you went, keep your eyes open and your wallet in your front pocket. Raekwon, verbal intercourse. So, yeah. That's one of them.
We gotta start writing these down and putting them like posting them. Yeah,
put it in a book.
Everybody had. My homegirl has. What would Jay-Z do? Have you heard of this book? Mm-hmm. So what would Jay-Z do is a 365-day book.
Just 365 pages.
Of quotes, and so it's reflective. Yep, but it's meant to invite you to think a little bit deeper and move mindfully in your day. It's not about him,
right? You know, it's taking the things he said and implementing them in your life. And seeing how he's been dropping jewels for however long.
Absolutely, but that happens with so many artists.
Absolutely.
Like we're both devilish and divine. So you can find a Lil Wayne song and he says something like, "Oh, that's it," and
you can take something from it,
and you leave the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Take what serves you and leave the rest. And that's what I love about hip hop is that we have that infused. And if you pay attention, we can get that nourishment and not be focused, and distracted by the other things. So thank you so very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate
you.